Okay, everybody. So we're in week two of our portrait and a graduate, right? So last week we talked about being contributing positively to your community, right? So we talked about making a positive contribution to the group. Okay, so we're still on that point, right? We want to make positive contributions to the groups that we're in. Right now, I'm down here at the Safe Study Space at 5 Star at 1776, right? And that's our community partners. That's their positive contribution to our school, to support students, right? To support families by creating a safe space for you to come down and for you to do some studying and just having a space away from home that could help you out. So I want to go into that a little bit more because the next point on a positive contribution to the community is developing and maintaining positive relationships, managing and resolving conflict constructively. Right, we got to resolve conflict constructively. Got to forgive Mr. Pink, man. My eyesight ain't what it used to be. So let's talk about that, right? So I want to develop and maintain positive relationships, right? I should have a positive relationship with my teacher. I should have a positive relationship with my principal. I should have a positive relationship with my dean. That could get crazy sometimes, so I get that. But if we don't have that, let's try to make sure I should have a positive relationship with the students, my fellow students inside the classroom, right? We let's be positive. You know what I mean? That thing works out. That thing works out better if you and I have respect for one another. If we have respect, if we could keep the classroom safe for everybody. If I'm understanding of where you coming from, but you know what? Here's what happens. Unfortunately, and this just happens with people, and it doesn't matter who you are. This is like a normal thing. It happens in your family. It happens with your friends. It happens with people that you don't like. It happens with people that you work with. It happens, when you hanging out, right? It happens when you just driving down the street, or if you're on a bus. Sometimes we enter into conflict. Right? I get in a conflict with somebody that I'm with. I might get in a conflict with my brother. I might get in a conflict with my mom. I might get in a conflict with my friends. I might get in a conflict with somebody that's not my friend. I might be in a conflict with my teacher. I might be in a conflict with the dean. That happens often, right? So what do we do when we have those situations? Conflict is a normal thing. It's not anything new. Okay? But guess what? There's a positive way to resolve even conflict. And what does that look like? Well, you know what? It starts with understanding where the other person is coming from. Okay? Right? I need to understand where the other person is coming from before I want to jump in and tell my side of the story and make sure that I'm heard. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. A lot of times I find out I can't hear anybody else. I can't hear anybody else if I'm not listening. And the reality is they won't hear me either. Right? So now we just turn into two yelling walls, right? We just walls that aren't listening to each other, and we just yelling at each other, and we want to be heard. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You want somebody to hear you? Listen first, right? Listen first and listen more than they do. The second thing, don't respond emotionally. Don't be in your emotions when you respond. Nobody's going to hear you because a lot of times, and guess what? Mr. Pink's a victim of it. And it's one of the things I try to tell all students or anybody when I'm talking to them, because I'm a coach. See, I'm dressed as a coach today. You know what I mean? Because this is my wheelhouse. It's my safe space. But I'm dressed as a coach today. And as a coach, sometimes, guess what? I get a little bit too animated, and I get to yelling, and I'm super intense and all of that stuff. And man, it just comes across as Tony told me this the first year I met her. She said, "Man, you're just too much. You're just too intense, Mr. Pink. You know what I mean? You need to calm down. You need to back off some." Right? So sometimes when we respond inside of our emotions, right, and we reaching out to somebody and we want them to try to understand because we're trying to resolve a conflict, they can't hear us. You know what I mean? So don't respond to your emotions. I remember when Tony told me that, I went back in my office and I said, you know what? If I'm going to try to reach and try to connect to this student, right, I got to back off of my entire approach when I try to deal with her, right? So I tried to make it a point, you know what I mean, to calm down a little bit and also to build a bigger rapport with her the one thing I say, hey, Tony, if I'm starting to go over the top and I'm turning into Coach Pink, you got to let me know. So sometimes when I'm engaging with her, she says, hey, hey, Mr. Pink, can you tone it down, son? Oh, absolutely, Tony. I'm sorry. I apologize. Right? Do you see how I'm trying to build a rapport? Do you see how I'm trying to make a positive relationship? Right? Do you see how we try to resolve conflict? Okay? So that's it for this week as far as being a Davis student. Remember, what's the first point? We need to be positive contributors to our communities, right? We went over last week. I need to add something meaningful to a group. The second thing that I'm trying to do this week is I need to develop a positive relationship. I need to develop a positive relationship, and then I need to maintain and manage conflict constructively. Hey, that's it for me, man. Listen, answer the question at the end of the video. That counts as your time for this week's meeting. Hey, again, y'all have a good day. It's Mr. Pink, your Dean of Engagement.